Good afternoon, everyone. I was kind of hoping we'd have some more come straggling in, but I know we have some people out for different reasons today, and I know how busy everybody's schedule is, but we appreciate you being here anyway. We'd like to call our August 2025 interim meeting on the Commission on Race and Access to Opportunity to order. Our lead staffer is Mr. Brandon White here to my left, and committee assistant is Logan Schaff to my right. And at this time, I'll ask Logan to call the roll.
Senator Berg, Senator Herron, Senator Tishner, Representative Brown,
Here.
Representative Hevron, here. Representative Kulkarni, Ms. Baird, Mr. Davis, Mr. Pryor, Ms. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Smith-Willis,
Here.
Co-Chair Mays Bledsoe, Co-Chair Jackson.
Present. Also, I see our other celebrity on this group. Mr. Druin just came in, so glad to have you with us. And I would like to, at this time, say our condolences to Tommy, that his dad passed away about 2 weeks ago now, Tommy, unexpectedly. So please know that our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family in this most difficult time. I would like to introduce our newest member to the committee. We have a new member today, and hopefully we'll have a new one at our next committee meeting. So with us for the first time today, welcome Ms. Yvonne Smith. And Ms. Smith, we would love to give you an opportunity if you want to say a couple of words. We'd love to have you do that.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. Just want to let you all know my background in this area was being the former director of MWBE program for the city of Winston-Salem, and then also coming off the North Carolina Department of Transportation Advisory Committee for DBE. So I'm thankful to have this opportunity.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we definitely can use that expertise that you bring with you, and we look forward to working with you the rest of this year. Okay, any members have comments or recognitions at this time? Anybody comments or recognitions? Okay, don't see any. We do have a quorum today, so if I could have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our June meeting at this time.
Motion to approve, Chair.
Have a motion and a second. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Minutes from our June meeting have been approved. We don't have a lot of people on the agenda today, but the ones we do have, we're excited to have here. And we had a meeting. Our first meeting was in June, and there were some topics that came up, questions that came up during that meeting that we didn't have the answers to. So we have invited some folks to be with us today that we feel like are much more qualified to give those answers. And at this time, I would like to ask them to go ahead and come. Are you both coming to the table at the same time? Yeah, that'd be fine. Please come to the table. Just remind you to make sure your microphone is turned on. Make sure that green button is lit up bright green. We want to be able to hear everything you have to say. If you would, just identify yourselves for the record and proceed with your presentation.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Singer Buchanan. I am the Executive Director of the Office of EEO and Contract Compliance in the Finance and Administration Cabinet.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Yousefi. I'm the Executive Director for the Office for Civil Rights and Small Business Development with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
Okay. And I'll begin the presentation. If you could go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, I can do it.
Oh, we do it here. here, okay. Our mission of our Office of Equal Opportunity and Contract Compliance, we administer the state's service-disabled, veteran-owned small business certification program and the Kentucky Minority and Women Business Enterprise Certification Program and the Kentucky Contract Compliance Program. Okay, first I'll discuss the service-disabled, veteran-owned small business certification program. This program, basically we're looking for Kentucky residents that have service-related disability, and they own a small business. Small business is determined by the SBA, and generally it's about $2.5 million is their threshold for most occupations. So it's what we may consider small. I actually consider to be a pretty good business. You know, that's you're doing a good growth there. We basically want to encourage these businesses to work in Kentucky. We also want to give them opportunities for out-of-state contracts. By getting our home state certification, they have the ability to reach out to other states and try to get their product out there or their service that they provide. One of the things that we're really focusing on is a better relationship with Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs. We feel there's no better organization to partner with to try to get the word out. This year we have attended the Women's Veterans Conference that was held at General Butler. We attended the Veterans and Military Family Conference that was held in Louisville in February. I spoke at they had a staff retreat in May, and I was the speaker there to focus on the programs that we're doing, once again trying to reiterate. This weekend, or not this weekend, Thursday and Friday, they're having their state commanders conference where I'll be attending, talking about the programs, trying to get more people interested in understanding what we're doing. Last year when I attended, there was a lot of, whoa, I didn't know about this, you know. So this year following up, hopefully we can establish some more relationships, because I kind of told them you need to be in business for a year in order to do it, and people were taking notes, and it really was satisfying to see we actually found the right pool of people to try to work with. In addition, the commissioner, Commissioner Allen, he sits on our business certification committee. So as we review these service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses for certification, he is at the table. So that he's once again partnering with us, and hopefully it gives him, when he's out in the state, you know, he'll recall what he does and he'll say, hey, we have this program, you know, we want you to be interested in it. So we're trying to get more partnerships out there. And to top it off, I'm a veteran of the Air Force, so I joined the employee resource groups for veterans so we can talk about these programs, try to get the word out to other people who may know people out in the state to see that they can recommend this program for us. Okay. The next one is the Minority Women Business Enterprise Program. This certification program encourages growth among Kentucky businesses owned by women and minorities and assists those businesses with expanding their markets. Once again, it allows them to compete for out-of-state projects, because we get the home state certification so they can go to Indiana, Ohio, other places, and compete for opportunities. We think it's very important to continue programs like this because it gives our businesses validity, really. Because in order to get the certification, you have to show you have expertise. You have to show that you have ownership, that you have done yourself. No one gifted this to you. You know, a lot of times when we deal with certain businesses, people tend to sometimes maybe give a family member something. Well, in this particular case, you're going to have to show some sort of investment yourself. You know, that way, you know, you have something that you can prove that is valuable to you. We also want to you be able to prove that you have the expertise. Because if you say that you can build a skyscraper, but all you have is a bulldozer, and we look at your equipment, we're not going to be able to do that, okay? But we can at least acknowledge what they're trying to do, maybe help them get started at a smaller scale, kind of a thing. Both of our employees that work in both of these programs are great advocates for assisting people. We'll stay on the phone with them. We will walk them through the process. A little later, I'll talk about a new incentive that we put up that has kind of simplified our ability to do this. Dealing with this program, we have worked closely with University of Kentucky, Small Business Administration, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Over last year, we did 2 statewide presentations working with these groups in a program that UK did initiate called Growing Our Own. That's where we're finding these businesses. We're doing webinars. We're trying to talk to them about the process, the different types of certifications that are available, what's best for them. We're showing them the local ones out of Louisville. We're showing the big statewide ones. We're showing the national and federal ones. You know, trying to give everyone an opportunity to see what's out there and to let them know that there are other people just like them that are out there. and it gives them a chance to network among themselves. One of the things that I'm a big proponent of is people getting to know each other, what they do, so when other opportunities come, people can be made aware. Their word of mouth is still an awesome way of getting business done. You know, people can search web, they can do sites, but when someone said, "Did you know this bid was out here?" That's what makes people react quickly. So we're working on things like that. We also attend the joint utility reception held by Louisville Water and any other organization that's willing to partner with us. We're willing to take that extra time and go on a weekend, in the evening. It doesn't matter. It's something that we think is very valuable. A lot of these people already have a full-time job, you know, so they're trying to start a new business. So we want to make sure that we're available for them when they're going to be there, you know, and I think that makes a big difference. Next slide, please. Okay. So a little background. In 2013, at the direction of the Governor's Office, the Office of Procurement Services launched a program to expand purchasing opportunities and increase participation among small businesses. Okay. Then in 2017 regular session, House Bill 161 was enacted, which pretty much gave us the ability to run the service-disabled veteran-owned small business program. Okay, next slide. And one of the questions that was asked was, you know, how do these people know about these, how do agencies know about these services or certified entities and how to get them contracts? First of all, they must compete like any other vendor, okay? There is very little opportunity in most cases for anyone to get any type of a set aside or a quota. They don't exist, okay? They have to compete. Now what we'll do is we'll put their service code, like what their product they have, and we have a thing called this vendor rotation tab where they just come in order when they get in, and we'll contact those vendors for small purchase opportunities. They can send us a quote. Another way we can do it is we look at the commodity table that they're doing, and we reach out, basically put out a blast and ask them to bid on it if they want to. So this is a statewide thing. All agencies do purchasing. It gives them an opportunity to find people that they can work with for their unique services. Finance is pretty much the overall commodity oversight, but agencies do have the ability to make small purchases themselves, but still must follow under the rules of the Model Procurement Code. Okay, next one. And the issues faced by vendors. And since last year, when I first became aware, actually 2 years ago, of this committee's existence, I have been watching your programs, your things, and I have to echo what was said last meeting about the obstacles. It's really access to capital. These are small business trying to grow. They don't necessarily have the capacity. Lending partners, you know, it's not something that people are giving away. They're not grants. People think, well, I get certified. Is there going to be a grant attached to this? Can I get access to funds? And it doesn't work that way at any level. You know, now there may be some people out there, entrepreneurs, you know, who may want to help startups do things like that, their own type of investment. But generally speaking, you know, you have to be able to run your own business. You have to be able to find opportunities, you know. And one of the things we also found out is a lot of them don't know about the certification process. And I always encourage them to get the certification because it does tell them they've been vetted. Okay, the government has looked at you. They see that you can do this, what you say you can do. You have the expertise, you have the ownership. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. That is a green light to me for other people that are looking for opportunities. And people also must understand government isn't the only one who is using these vendors. People put it on their letterhead. They're putting it on their emails when they're bidding. It shows private sector people that these businesses are legitimate. They've been vetted by the government, and they have opportunities to actually use these companies in a successful manner. Okay. Highlights, I mentioned earlier, we've done some enhancements. We have what we call an online portal. We have worked with the vendor to create this. So now, instead of doing a 13-page paper application that had to come in, be scanned, be ready to, we have a portal that will take them to the next step only when they've answered the proper question. It can time out and then they can go back in and still complete it. It's been very successful. Since December 2023, we've had 227 new applications that have gone through that portal. So it makes a big difference. I took a look at our total number of vendors in both programs before I got over here, and we now have 536 of them that are out there. And these are Commonwealth of Kentucky majority-owned businesses. There are some out of state because we do have reciprocal with states that agree with us, but the majority of them are totally in Kentucky. I think I have the number right here. Of the MBE program in Kentucky, we have 105. When you combine with out-of-state, we have 157. Minority women's business enterprise, we have 104. You add in another, this looks like 15 for a total of 119 total. Women business enterprise, which is our largest group, we have 195 vendors there with a total, including out of state, of 223. And our service disabled veteran-owned small business are all Kentucky, and currently we stand at 29. And I say that number 29 because that's why I'm putting emphasis on working with these service disabled veteran organizations, vendors like that can help us grow this program. We know they're out there. We just need to find them and help them find us. So that's one of the things that we try to do to promote the program. In the future, we're looking at using our website and maybe put some testimonials on there so that people can hear from people who've actually gone through the process, understand what's out there, maybe find other ways to highlight our programs. But this is a constantly evolving opportunity for us to find these businesses that can serve the people of the Commonwealth as well as the private sector with the products that they have. Okay, and I believe that's all I have at this point for questions, or I can wait till Mr. Yousefi's done and we can respond together, whatever you choose.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan, for your presentation. That, it hits on a lot of areas I think that we have questions about. And I will say, from a personal standpoint, a few years ago, we had a female-owned landscaping business that did sod work for our yard, put sod on the whole yard. And it was female-owned and operated, and she did a great job. So I know those businesses are out there because we have used one of those businesses before. How many people are in your office? 3. Okay. So it makes it difficult to get out across the state and get the word out that we need, but sounds to me like you're doing as much as you can now as far as meeting with different organizations. I'm sure there's still people out there that don't know about some of these programs. So any way that we can, whether it's an advertising campaign, whatever we can do, word of mouth, to get the word out there, because we're missing the boat, and a lot of other people are missing the boat if we don't do a good job spreading the word. So we appreciate what you're doing. I was going to ask about the application process, and sounds like you've got that down pat now.
Yes.
Sounds like you've got people that will help if someone does want to apply, and you kind of walk them through it. So that, for a lot of people that are not tech savvy, such as myself, that does make it a little more difficult sometimes, but sounds like you got help.
Yeah, matter of fact, I don't know if Representative Brown recalls, but when we did a Q&A after we did the Grow Your Own, one of my employees, Paula Weglers, 4 people in that meeting came up and said, Paula's great, Paula helps us, Paula, and that's giving us that sales that we need. Other people are hearing, we're friendly for you. We don't embarrass anyone. We want to be successful. We want you to make it. And Paula does a great job, and Ashley, on the service disabled veteran, also does a great job working with her vendors.
Well, any other questions at this time? We'll have questions later as well. Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay, Representative Brown.
Mr. Chairman, before you move forward, with the current administration in D.C., how does your program interact with the specifications or the limitations that are laid out by current administration?
Our program is a state program. We receive no federal
No
dollars.
federal dollars, okay.
And we follow Kentucky procurement law as it stands.
Okay. I just have a question. The question is, I guess my question is will this run afoul of federal legislation, of the federal legislation that's moving in D.C. now?
First of all, I'm not an attorney. No.
Okay.
Okay. But from our legal staff, we've been advised to continue with our program. I'm sorry. I apologize again. We've been encouraged to continue with our program until someone tells us we can't. We will follow the law. There's no doubt about that. But currently, we've been advised that we are following Kentucky state law, and that's all our job is right now.
Okay.
That's the parameters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Buchanan. Mr. Yousefi, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and members of this commission, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Tony Yousefi, and I'm the Executive Director for the Office for Civil Rights and Small Business Development with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. I oversee our State Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or DBE, program. The DBE program is a federal program under the U.S. Department of Transportation, and our office is responsible for administering it at the state level. I'll provide a brief overview of how the program works, the protection in place for small and disadvantaged businesses, and the steps we are taking to support their success. The DBE program was established by Congress in 1982 and governed by Federal Regulation 49 CFR Part 23 and 26 under the U.S. Department of Transportation. That is the legal framework that all states must follow. The DBE program applies to U.S. Department of Transportation funded contracts. The purpose is to ensure non-discrimination and create for fair access for disadvantaged businesses, and all certified DBEs, regardless of race or gender, are treated equally under the law. The program is not intended for businesses to remain permanently, but to grow and eventually compete successfully without program assistance. The DBE program objectives are to create a level playing field for disadvantaged businesses by ensuring only qualified, eligible firms can participate in promoting growth so firms can eventually graduate from the program. Per 49 CFR 26(1)G, the program is designed to help DBEs become self-sufficient and competitive in the marketplace. To be a certified DBE, a firm must meet strict criteria. It must be a small business under the SBSI standards. At least 51% of the business must be owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Examples of presumed disadvantaged groups include Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, Subcontinent Asian Americans, and women. Certain groups are disadvantaged, but all certified DBEs are treated equally under the law. The owner's personal net worth must be under the federal cap, currently about $2.47 million, and the firm must be independent and show that the disadvantaged owner actually runs the day-to-day operations. These requirements protect program integrity and ensure only qualified firms participate in the program. The certification process is managed through the Unified Certification Program in each state. A DPE applies once, and the certification is recognized by all U.S. DOT funding recipients in that state. Documentation must be submitted to prove eligibility and ownership. Certification gives DBE access to opportunities and ensure their inclusion in the state's DBE directory, which is publicly available to primes and agencies seeking certified firms. Applicants are required to provide documentation during the certification process, including proof of ownership, control, personal net worth, and small business side. Under 49 CFR Part 2683, recipients must evaluate this documentation to determine eligibility and ensure only qualified firms are certified as DBEs. The Cabinet, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, we are the recipient. And to make the process easier, we have launched this year a new online application platform to streamline submissions, reduce paperwork, and help applicants complete and track the certification. Under 49 CFR Part 2645, our Cabinet, as the recipient of U.S. DOT funding, must set DBE participation goal every 3 years based on evidence of availability and capacity. So each year, we must document good faith effort to meet these goals. Annual documentation of progress toward goals is submitted to U.S. DOT as part of compliance with 49 CFR Part 26. In addition, prime contractors bidding on projects with DBE goals must also demonstrate good faith efforts. They must show that they actively reach out to DBEs and advertise opportunities. If a contractor does not meet the DBE goal, they must document the specific step they took to include DBEs. So one of the most important part of the DBE program is making sure that disadvantaged businesses are protected during the contracting process. Federal regulations give DBEs several protections. The prompt payment. Prime contractors are required to pay DBE contractors quickly, typically within 7 days. This ensures small firms aren't left waiting for cash flow, which can be critical for their survival. Commercially useful function. DBEs must actually perform meaningful work to count toward DBE goals. This prevents abuse of the program by listing a DBE on paper, but having another company do the work. Next is monitoring and enforcement. Our cabinet must actively monitor payments, performance, and subcontractor substitutions. If a prime contractor wants to replace a DBE, they must first get approval. Finally, the sanctions, if violations occur, such as failure to pay, improper substitutions, or fraud, consequences can include contract sanctions, payment holds, or even disqualification from future contracts. Together, these protections safeguard DBEs from being taken advantage of and making sure participation is genuine. This slide focuses on how our cabinet enforces those protections. So we conduct commercial useful function cover reviews on job sites to make sure DBEs are doing the work they are accredited for. We check prompt payment compliance and track whether DBE commitment on paper matches what's happening in the field. If a prime contractor requests to replace a DBE, we review and approve that before it can happen. And finally, our cabinet maintains records and submits required reports to USDOT. This ensures accountability and transparency in the delivery of the program. These are the barriers faced by DBEs. So even with our supportive services, DBEs face real challenges in the marketplace. One of the biggest issues is financial access. Many DBEs struggle to secure bonding, insurance, or capital, which limits the size and type of projects they can take on. Another barrier is competition with larger established firms. Without a long track record or the same level of resources, DBE can find it hard to win prime contracts. Some DBEs also lack access to industry training, professional development, or proven project experience, which makes it hard to build credibility with primes and agencies. In addition, the certification and compliance process is federally mandated under 49 CFR Part 23 and 26. So while our cabinet works to make it as smooth as possible, it can still feel complex and time-consuming for smaller firms. And finally, here in Kentucky, DBE must also be pro-qualified under KRS Chapter 176, just like any contractor or subcontractor on transportation projects. This means that DBEs often must meet threshold before they can compete, which adds another layer of difficulty. I also want to highlight that not all barriers are external. Per regulation, DBEs are required to submit annual documentation to maintain their active status. When firms fail to meet this requirement, we are obligated to remove them from the program. Last month, for example, 50 firms were removed due to noncompliance. All DBEs are provided free access to our supportive services, to training resources, and technical assistance to grow their business. So we cover areas like marketing, bidding, bonding, business planning, creating websites, and more. On top of that, all DBEs have access to an automated bid notification system. And this system is designed to send you email notification regarding contracting and subcontracting opportunities relevant to your specific work classification. Our bid matching program reaches an average of 377 DBEs monthly, providing bid opportunities information and ensuring that firms receive timely and relevant bid opportunities that align with their capabilities. Also, this year, our supportive services have launched a business development program designed to help DBEs strengthen core business functions and prepare for growth. The program consists of 9 structured classes, including the Bid Express, the Davis-Bacon Act, and certifying payroll, business accounting, bidding and proposals, and safety and workers' compensations. These classes are offered 3 times per year, and so far we have 95 DBEs enrolled in this year's training modules. And we have received great feedback from our DBEs regarding our supportive services. So in addition to training and technical assistance, we have put several key supports in place for our DBEs. We have established a reciprocity agreement with the state of Indiana, which helps streamline certification for firms that do business in the other state. We have also launched in July a new online application platform designed to make it easier for DBEs to apply, to manage and update their certification. And all certified DBEs are included in our DBE directory, which primes and agencies use to identify firms for contracting and subcontracting opportunities. And finally, it's important to emphasize that participation in the DBE program and access to these supportive services are provided at no cost to certified firms. And that's all I have. And thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Yusefi. You can tell I'm an educator by trade, so a lot of this sounds very complicated to me, and it sounds like there's a lot of obstacles and hoops to jump through. Could you, let's say Brandon, my friend here, Brandon wants to apply for something with the Transportation Department, one of these contracts. Could you give us a perfect case scenario? How would he go about doing that?
Sure.
Briefly?
Yes.
Thank you.
So if someone is interested in applying in as a DBE, they will first call our office. They will meet with one of our investigators who will sit with them and go through the application process. They will give them feedback and information about the process. Once they will apply, we will go through the process and we will have an on-site visit to just make sure that we have all the information that we need for them to be certified as a DBE. And once we'll provide all that information, gather that information, submit that to our committee to make a decision on whether that person can be certified or not. If they are certified, that's where we will have our supportive services working with them. First thing that they get after the certification will be to get all that information that they need on how to be pre-qualified in Kentucky and what are the free services that we have available for that individual in that business.
Good. Thank you for that version for somebody like a layman like me that might be able to understand. We do have, I think, some questions from the panel up here. Who we got? Oh, yeah, Ms. Smith Willis.
Thank you, Chair. Kind of like Senator Jackson had said, I think I'm putting the puzzle pieces together. I'm a newly elected city commissioner in Frankfort, and so I was a part of a focus group that talked about small businesses and the barriers that they face. So I think I have a twofold question, if I'm allowed. What are the proactive steps that city leaders could take to knock down some of those barriers that you brought up? And then how do you all gather feedback from communities and businesses to continuously shape this program? And how can we help and then also advocate on a state level?
First of all, I think that it would be good for businesses to know about those barriers. Those are things that we are facing every day. I think that we are working closely with our supportive services to get feedback from our DBEs. So every time that they are working with our DBEs, they're getting information on these are the areas that they need some help with. For example, if we had a firm asking for how to navigate the state government and how to work on the processes, because the processes, there's so many things that they're not familiar with. One thing that we are working with our supportive services to maybe have a mock bid, showing them maybe this would be a way for them to work so they can eventually have an idea on how the process works with the state. So we are working very closely with our supportive services. We are gathering that information. That information we're providing to USDOT and Federal Highways Administration, so they can get that. So they can get that information. So eventually they can work on the program and give us those guidance. We can help our DBEs, but we can help them within the regulations. So all the things that we can do would be strictly within the regulations and the guidance that we get from USDOT or Federal Highway Administration.
We had some questions sent in to us by some presenters in our first monthly meeting. So if you don't care if I ask a couple of those questions, sure. If you either or could answer. One is, if a general contractor or prime contractor is found to be negligent on a contract, what are the repercussions? And then follow-up says, has any general contractor or prime contractor been found negligent in the past 5 years? And if so, what action was taken?
So if a prime contractor fails to use or pay a DBE as committed, it can result in loss of a credit, breach of contract penalties, or even federal sanctions. As for has any general contractor or prime contractor been found negligent in the past 5 years, I will need a few days to gather and provide data on how many such breaches of contract have occurred.
Let's see, there was a couple of others. If you don't mind, I'll ask, and that way everybody can say we've tried to get to the bottom of these. Says, have you issued a contract that was and/or included a pilot program initiative that was looking at creating greater opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses in the past 5 years? Any type of pilot program initiative?
No, we have not.
Okay. Anything? Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Representative Heverin?
Thank you. Thank you all for your presentation today. I have a constituent at home that was asking me about federal legislation, or sorry, not federal legislation, a federal lawsuit right now over the DBE contracts. Could you all provide us any information on that?
This is an ongoing litigation, and we're not party to, so unfortunately, I won't be able to comment on that.
Any other questions? I have one more here that was handed to me. What if there's a discrepancy in the final pay of a DBE by a prime contractor? How would that be settled?
If there is a discrepancy on the final pay,
Yes.
that will have to be with the procurement section. But if we are aware of, we will monitor, we will double check, and we will notify USDOT about it. Any guidance that we will seek will be through USDOT or Federal Highway Administration.
I think that had happened maybe in an incident, and so they were wanting to know if we could find the answer to that for them. Any other questions? Any other questions, comments? Well, Mr. Buchanan, Mr. Yousefi, thank you. And if we can do anything to help you, I hope we're all in this together to try to make life better for all Kentuckians. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, please let us know. I know Mr. Buchanan needs probably about 10 more employees in his office, but this is a budget session. Maybe you can come back and ask for that. I can't promise you that, but that might be something you could ask for. But thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you being here and taking your time to share that information with us. Committee, our next meeting will be September the 23rd at the Capitol Annex right here. The topic of discussion will be integrating the immigrant community. And there'll be, like I said, my background is in education, and I know we'll have some folks here from education discussing that topic. In Bowling Green and Warren County, we're about 1/3 immigrant population EL students in our school system. So I think there'll be some people here to discuss that. So look forward to seeing you on September the 23rd. No, nothing else. This meeting is adjourned.